everyone! So I had the pleasure of talking to Rico Fajardo for the first episode of the Shonen Showtunes virtual interview series that I'm starting. The goal of this series is to promote the event and to get a little taste of the kind of content you'll be seeing. I made a whole video just talking about the event if you don't know what Shonen Showtunes is, so the links are in the description and at the end card of this video. I simply cannot give enough thanks to Rico for being my very first guest. As always, if you are interested in this event in any way, shape, or form, please do not hesitate to contact me and I will absolutely give you as much information as you need. And without further ado, here we go. So, I want to start at the beginning. What was the first musical you were ever in?
Oh my God. Okay, technically, let me think. Oh God, my first voice teacher ever, Louis Sacco, who is in New York right now, lovely man, wrote a musical that I was in. And I feel bad because I can't remember the name, but we performed it at the Lancaster Performing Arts Center. I know straight away after that, I worked on Beauty and the Beast, where I played the Beast. So that was cool, but there's something there I thought I saw. And when we touched, she didn't shudder at my paw.
Starting off strong.
I mean, I guess it was like, man, learning that let the world be done with me. That was the hardest thing for me to hit. Was that song that is never in the music. Never, no one knows because it's not in the movie or anything.
Right.
But yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast, technically, but unofficially. Lewis's off Broadway show.
Off with like an exponent.
Yes, that's right.
So he was your first voice teacher. When did you start taking like formal training? You started with voice lessons?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I pretty, like when I was, before I even started going to school, pretty humble stock, didn't have a lot of money or anything to do any classes. But fortunately, Lewis I took a community college class with him at Antelope Valley College. It was my first voice class ever. But it was beautifully eye-opening. And I felt so fortunate to have a teacher that kind of set me up for all the right things. And I mean, I could go on and on right now about good pedagogy. Like having a good teacher, you guys, it's nothing like it. Particularly different points in your career. But all that said, that's a story for another time. I started formally training after going to ABC for a while. I went to UC Irvine, where I studied acting, but with a focus on musical theater. So that was Marana Delaney and Dennis Castellano, and Gary Busby, who I think is still there. But yeah, did the New York Satellite program, a lot of voice classes. Yeah. UC Irvine. Go Anteaters. Zot, zot.
Yeah, come on. So you also taught for a certain amount of time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Oh man, I feel like every actor, particularly, when you're graduating, it's you have your bachelor's in hand or your master's. Like, all right, well, I don't have any jobs because I'm spending all this time schooling. So, what do you do? I taught at Dallas Children's Theater. Taught like improv to kiddos. I literally worked at all different ages. So like little ones, like middle schoolers. I taught high schoolers at American Players Theater. Went to high schools and taught literally classical text. We had like intensives we do with some very talented kids who lived up in the River Valley up there. Man, that was amazing. American Players Theater, by the way, best outdoor theater in my humble opinion in the States. Actually, I would say the world, because I've been to the globe. Anyway,
come on. Cultured.
Yeah, oh, they're great, dude. APT's amazing. But yeah, also taught at Richland College for a spell, taught acting and directed a musical there, did Putnam County Spelling Bee. Gosh, I taught at SMU as a part of my master's program, did, acting for non-majors. Oh gosh, I feel like I've been teaching just so much during my life, like off and on. But for the most part, it was after 2012, when I graduated from SMU, I started just teaching, when I could, as kind of supplementary income, but also to keep yourself sharp, because there's nothing I think better than having to clearly articulate your process to people who have no idea of what a process is, and also being open enough to help them discover their own way, which is like, it's glorious. It really makes you a good listener. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So when in this this training journey did you book your first live performance gig?
Let's see. Oh, first live performance gig.
Mhm.
Whew. Okay. Wait. Like first live performance ever?
Like paid, like a paid professional
Okay,
gig.
okay. So this
Yeah, yeah,
goes
yeah.
back. This goes back, and it's a little bit of a sad story, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it's important.
Please,
The first gig. So I graduated in Reno, Nevada, from Hug High School.
come on.
Thug High is what we call it. Anyway, um, uh, and the first gig out of high school, because I wanted to be an actor, I auditioned for local things, and we were doing a production of All My Sons that I got cast in. I think I was 17 years old, and I was getting paid like the smallest stipend of like $50 for like, what is it, 3 weeks of rehearsal and all the stuff that goes in with that. But it was paid, and it was my first acting gig, and it was so exciting. I played George Deaver. I was the brother that comes in. I'm like, what are you doing here? Um, you can't date my sister. And I was very excited. On the day of the performance, and I think this you can still find this online. It's kind of wild. Our lead actor, on the day of the performance, got in a motorcycle accident and passed. And we were all waiting to do this show. And we're like, where is he? He'll be here. He'll be here. And the director comes in. He's like, guys, we have to call the show. Like, I'm like, what happened? We're all so excited. The energy's electric. So we've been rehearsing. It's like, yeah, he got in a motorcycle accident. And he's gone. And we're like, and the air just like with a show like All My Sons, which ends with a bang. It felt very like, man, at 17 years old, I remember thinking to myself, like, this is the most dramatic. This is like more, art imitating life kind of feel. We were all just left with this empty feeling. And so all of the cast and crew we all got together for a hot second and chatted about it. And it was raining that night. So drove home in my little crappy Jeep Eagle, which had like a Flintstones hole in the bottom because salt
Oh
on the
no.
road. Like yeah, this is circa like high school Rico, like broke as a joke Rico. But um I remember driving back and thinking, gosh, I wonder, are we still going to do the show? And they called it, so we didn't end up doing the show. But technically, that was my first paid gig, and I remember thinking, I need to carry. Like I was like, I'm gonna honor the loss of that show and try to I mean, literally, guys, we're actors. We're putting this all on the line for $50 for like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not doing it for the money. We're out here trying to do it because we love to do it and perform. And I mean, lost a really great actor that day and a person, obviously. But yeah, like I carried that with me since that day. I remember thinking like, yeah, man, it's life or death, literally every time. Like you got to carry that tenacity, that veracity, that hunger for life every time you get on stage. So yeah, sorry,
Oh
it's not
my
a happy
goodness.
story,
No,
but
no, no. I had no idea. That's like,
you
talk
literally
about
unearthed it
impactful.
in my mind.
Yeah. Total 180. I know you also worked at Disney for a little amount of time.
Happiest place on earth.
Yeah, exactly. So can you are you allowed to talk about the different things you did?
Well, the one thing that I like to say that I stick to the mouse training, which I don't know if they put it in the water or whatever, but like I was there for several years, and I still say I was good friends with.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Uh,
okay, perfect.
yeah, I was good friends with Goofy, character department. So
Mm-hmm.
good friends with Goof, Tigger in Critter Country. Um, uh, Hook, Captain Hook, Jay Worthington Foulfellow from Pinocchio. Um, Oh, by the way, that's the kiss sound that the fuzzy characters make. They go
Oh
in their
yeah.
hand. I was good friends with Aladdin, and the first Prince Naveen of Maldonia.
No way.
Yeah, I got to meet
That's
John. I
fantastic.
got to meet John Lasseter. That was really cool. I'm pretty sure that in the Pixar Bible for Naveen's costume, his cool Leaves of Lorien, swamp wear, you will see 20-year-old Rico just like.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. So I know that you went through a process of dealing with vocal damage and having a whole recovery process. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Oh yeah. So there's an expression in the industry. It's feast or famine, like for an actor. So it's like if you're doing well and things are booking and you're working, like you do it all. And if you're not working, you're not booking, you're practicing, you're training, you know, like you're always, there's kind of always developing your craft, your technique, your business, a leaning forward, not to the point of disrepair, because that's, you know, obviously unhealthy. But to that end, to make a point on that, I told you I was directing Putnam County Spelling Bee. I was also teaching 2 classes. I had 2 lead roles at Funimation in 2 different properties, and then a 3rd villain role arc that was very screamy and aggressive. And I had one other gig. It was directing, teaching. Oh, and I was doing Shakespeare in the Park. I was playing Romeo and Juliet. I was tired, Lexi. Like I would go home and I go to sleep, and no matter how much of all my training of warming up, cooling down, hydrating, I was just tired, vocally exhausted. I cherished times of being quiet. Like I'd get up in the morning and I'd be sipping on, you know, like my tea, just like humming, and I could feel my chords are like, please, no more. Anyway, to that end, I was working on a show called Fairy Tale with my buddy Tyler Walker, and I played this guy named Jacko, and I made him very like snarly, and I'm screaming, and as in anime, creatures get powered up. Jackal powers up to fight Natsu, and he's like, well, I'm a bigger Jackal. And then he gets beaten, and then he transforms again. And I'm like, oh my God, how many fucking times is this guy gonna transform? And so I'm doing this like level 3 Jackal scream crap. And in the middle of a scream, I'm like, and Tyler's like, are you okay? And I'm like, hang on, can I take a second? He's like, yeah, sure. And Tyler is a musician. He knows. He's like, and we're, for the most part, incommunicado. If I'm not feeling well, you know, you communicate it. But I neglected. I was so used to saying, yeah, I'm good, let's go. Like, I did not paying attention to my body, man. I went outside into the hall and I could taste that coppery taste of blood in my throat. I went and saw an ENT. I was having a hard time swallowing like saliva. And sure enough, there was a hemorrhagic polyp. So it was like a little bumpy on my cords. And man, I was listening, actually. I was making my adding to my reel just the other night, and I could hear some of my old work, and I can hear it. There's like just a slight rasp to it. Which fortunately I can act now, but like it's not, you know, a part of my actual thing. But anyway, long story short, too late. Went to my ENT. She's like, you need to take 3 months of vocal rest, no talking. And I was like, can't do it. I have clients, like literally my vocation relies on me being available and doing these gigs. I'm in the middle of gigs, and if I leave now, I'm going to lose all my traction. So instead I got it surgically removed. They just sliced it off. Which, by the way, when I woke up out of the ether, like out of the anesthesia, they told me not to talk, but I couldn't help myself. I was like, I just want to see. So I was like, and oh my God, Lexi, it was beautiful. The sound, like my chords were smooth, man. And like I hit these high notes that were just ping and incredible. And I got giddy. I was like, I am gonna book everything. Like my voice sounds like butter right now. Sadly, once oxygen got on there and it started to oxidize the wound, it all like, because I started to scab over. But yeah, there was something really insane about having like just this tiny piece of flesh in control of all the sound that you make, you know, sound production, and how it can get injured. But when they do surgery, how like the quality is so different. It's like I had eye surgery. I did LASIK or PRK years ago. And when this is disgusting, but when they cut open my eye, I remember seeing colors saturated. Like the blue on the roof was like just a brilliant blue. When they opened my cornea like that, I was like, or the flap. I was like, oh, this is what things are actually look like. And then they covered it and it went back to normal, and then it oxidized. And again, like I was blind. But yeah, it's just to take a philosophical second and to say that things are actually way more brilliant and vibrant than our senses probably can even perceive. So yeah, take care of your senses.
Yeah, something to think about, something to reflect on.
Sorry, that was like the longest answer in the world.
No, dude, I love it.
Love that.
So rewinding a little bit about doing everything and anything, that's one of the reasons that like I personally, I'm like, I got mad respect, because that's It's crazy. So, and on top of doing all these different performance gigs and all different avenues of performing, you also, like you mentioned earlier, you are hello again. I've missed you. You also take time to do all these different health and fitness things. So, in taking a philosophical route, what would you say have been your like key factors in keeping consistency and keeping the mindset to be able to be in a state where you are able to do all of these things?
Yeah, well, as Shakespeare said, the readiness is all. And that's I think goes doubly true for acting. Um, some would say that the job is auditioning, and it is like, but in my perspective, being like ideal readiness as a performer is really to be able to do everything. So like gymnastics of the voice, right? Like if you're warmed up and you're ready to hit all those notes and there isn't a question of whether or not you can hit that, you know it and you approach it confidently. That's where you want to be. And don't get me wrong, there are auditions where, you go in and like say, I've seen you before. And like, oh, I know Lex can hit that note, or you had a late night last night as a partying, or maybe you were working, I'll let you swing again. But there is something just so beautiful about a performer that can step in, recognize what's happening, perform, hit all the notes, and then be able to go, all right, now let's do it again, but breathe life into it. Now let's actualize it a bit more, because it is a process. Anyone that has worked on anything creative knows that, we go through drafts, we go through iterations to bring to life a performance. But if you have a performer that is, healthy, not, you don't have to be like fit, but like in a place where your instrument is ready to perform. So for me, that's like, I practice parkour. I want to be able to do stunts. I want to be able to do a flip if I need to do a flip. It's also fun for me. You know what I mean? Like I find things that are both. I like to play music. I also like to improv. So, but like all these things, I just like kind of drill down into for my own benefit. Dialects are fun, but do you really own one? So when I say I want your RP, but I want Northeastern region of England, can you give me that specifically? And you're like, okay, cool. Well, and then to speak intelligently about it and say, well, the roticity, they engage it sometimes, but is it more colloquial? Are we like 2021? Or are we like, 1990? To speak with that kind of specificity about anything artistic, it can be, I know, a little nauseating at times for some people, but I appreciate it. I love the specificity because the devil's in the details when it comes to performance. And that means that you must have as many things kind of ready to be movable and shiftable. Don't get me wrong, it's freaking great if they're like, hey, we're casting for a 30-something, half Filipino, half Irish guy wearing a brown shirt and a green coat. He's got cans on. Could you maybe do? I'm like, oh, shit, I got it. Like we're there. And then you book it. I'm like, no. But like,
perfect. Typecast, I know. What can I say?
But that's what I always say is like, if you're ready and I'm not, you'll book it. Do you know, like I've been in this industry long enough to know that you can change people's minds. Like, and it's not about like, I'm going in to change people's minds, but you're a storyteller. If you are a performer and you're ready to go, there's always a yes in the room. You just need to find it. So yeah, I guess it's different for everyone, I would say, like what your state of readiness. I know a pal in LA who works all the time. He's a bigger dude, he would call himself schlebby. He kind of has like a little bit of, like chips on the beard kind of deal. And that's an image that he grooms carefully groomed. So very specific thing that he knows is in his wheelhouse. But you better bet that guy is singing, he's watching his diet. He needs to make sure that he's also, even though he's bigger, he's still healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like he's taking care of the things that let his instrument be ready. Versus say on the other end of things, like my circus friends who are like peak physical conditioning, where they're like, man, I just ate like 2 whole pizzas last night. All right, time to go do 5,000 burpees. Like, and I'm like, wow, that's like most of your day. But it's easy for them because they practice it. They do it every day. So once you find there are things that link up with sort of what your profession is asking of you, I think you hook into those things and attach it to sort of your daily regimen of things that you need to cultivate and have at the ready. Because I know if someone called me and was like, Rico, I need you to do voiceover. And I'm like, sorry, I lost my voice. I was doing karaoke last night. It's like, no, literally, you can lose jobs that could be year long, several year long, or make your whole year in a day kind of gigs if you are not ready. So, not to make you stressed out, but like, just do your best to take care of yourself. Look at it that way. Just look at it as self-care. Like, I want myself to be in a good mental, emotional, spiritual like place. That way I can perform and give all of myself and be mutable. So anyway, yeah. I feel like I dodged the question, but take care of your instrument.
Yeah. I mean, you did not. I think that's pretty much it. That's all you got to know about it. All right. Now going general. Do you have a favorite musical and or a dream role?
Oh my God. Man, my favorite musical. Okay, just to be super, it's one that I like guiltily watch every time it comes on, like TV, because I know they just did a stage production of it. But Moulin Rouge is like, I'm just a romantic. I'm a sappy romantic, man, and I love all of that music and just how free and fun and the costume, everything just feels so like liberated, like uh emotionally, sexually, just it's all a party, but also like deeply, you know, heartfelt. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoy that. Um, but one that I would like to play, and I was just singing this in the shower, was from Jekyll and Hyde. I'd love to do Jekyll and Hyde. The score, and I talked about this, the opening song from Jekyll and Hyde won me. The rest of the musical is fine, and I would like to adapt it. But it's there's where what was it? Lost in the darkness, silence surrounds you. Once there was morning, now endless night. If I could reach you, I'd guide you and teach you to walk from the darkness back into the light. Deep in your silence, please try to hear me. I'll keep you near me till night passes by. I will find the answer. I'll never desert you. I promise you this till the day that I die. All the score, and then he goes, "Good night, Father." That to me, as the opening, was the most beautiful fucking thing I could have imagined, because it's Jekyll. Like, what a way to set up a whole musical, man. He's got everyone there. They're like, we don't want to fund your research. He's like, listen, we can help these people who have lost their minds. Like this, you don't know it's his father, but look at this patient. I'm getting progress. They're like, Jekyll, come on, man. Like, we are all rich and don't give care about you. And so they leave, and he sings this just gorgeous, simple song. And man, I was in. And then it breaks into, oh, the parting and the decadence and all the like the contrast of it. And then you almost find yourself, I think, wanting Hyde to come out and just kick ass. But again, the musical isn't perfect, but the music behind it, the characters are just sexy as hell. Yeah. I like a lot of the relationships in that show. So yeah, Jekyll.
I love it. And we have to tie in anime because I feel like I'm legally obligated to at this point.
Okay.
If you could cast any character that you've played in a musical, what would it be and who would it be?
Oh, I get to okay. So there's a loudmouth brewing. Yeah, there's a loudmouth character in a show I work on called Dr. Stone. His name is Taiju Oki. Notoriously, like texturally, they're like, God, this guy's just this loud oaf. I would like to see Taiju, but he's also a sweetheart. So I'd like to see like Taiju as someone who's he would do great in something like Tangled, or like, but he's a bit more of like a baritone. He's like a barrel chested. So like he could do a Gaston very well, but he's too nice for it. So it'd be funny to see like a cute Gaston that's like too sweet. He's like, Belle, it actually would be hilarious. Because all the compliments would be like, wait, you read books? Wow. Like he would actually mean it. He'd be like, how do you do that? Like it would just be this dopey, sweet thing. So Belle would look like a real bitch. If Taiju was, yeah, that'd be great.
I love that. And then finally, Can you talk a little bit about the song that you chose to sing?
Sure. Jason Robert Brown, back in my day, in college days, Jason Robert Brown was like super hot jam, mostly because of his just frenetic piano playing. Accompanists hated it when you would bring it up to the piano.
They still do.
Because he's got like 95 flats and 82 sharps. You're like, what? I don't have enough keys on the piano. But the cool thing is that I feel like a lot of his music, like lyrically, he has a music. Oh, Parade is so fucking good. Parade is so good. He's not afraid, man. He's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of like of just broaching these really hard topics and letting these characters really just sing openly to each other, and not in a robust sort of like a, I guess, classical musical theater way of like, you know, what would you, I've reached the height of emotion and so I love you. It's, you know, Kathy, we've been married for years and I'll tell you that I feel like it's, I guess I don't want to say it's speak singing because there really is a lot of like things are sung, but his lyrics and the relationships that the characters have, you could say his lyrics like a monologue. And I feel like it would play, which is an exercise we do in musical theater, but like they play in a very real sort of way. Someone to fall back on is my 16 bar. Like that's usually what I do for most of my auditions. It's one that it drops me in right away. You know, the piano starts the second I hear that, I'm like, got it. And I'm there. I feel it. I feel right away. When the piano starts speaking, it's already started the scene and I'm in it. I don't have to act. It's just there. Targeting is really easy. I know who I'm singing to. I know who I'm speaking to. There's a clear action about what I want to try to explain and what I'm going after. It's so I guess it's easy. That's kind of rude, but like what I mean
not at all.
It's accessible. Jason Robert Brown makes I think he lays it all out there for you, particularly because his instrument, his piano, speaks so clearly for you. Yeah, and that's a big thing to always remember. It's like, am I singing first or I'm starting the song? Is the piano speaking? What is the piano saying? You know, and how are we, you know, helping each other? Anyway, I could go on and on about Jason Robert Brown and like Parade and all the wasted time, like the way that he has sounds counter each other and complement each other and dance around each other. Something to fall back on is just a very clean sort of driving, I'm here to tell you something. It's that I love you and I want to, you know, I'll be here for you no matter what, which is like good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll show that right now.
I'll never be a knight in armor with a sword in hand, or a kamikaze fighter. Don't count on me to storm the barricades and take a stand, or hold my ground. You'll never see any scars or wounds. I don't walk on coals, I won't walk on water. I am no prince, I am no saint, I am not anyone's wildest dream, but I can stand behind and be someone to fall back on.
Another enormous thank you to RICCO for not only such a lovely performance, but a seriously engaging and genuine discussion about his experiences. Whose theatrical experiences would you like to hear about next? If you want to see more of what was in this video, but live in person, reach out to your local conventions and let them know about Shonen Showtunes. And finally, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you again real soon.
It is wonderful, my life. Please, could you kiss my